What's up, guys? Alex here with RJOCD Recovery. Today's video, I'm actually going to be returning to an older video that I made a few months ago and exploring the topics a little bit more in depth. And the name of that video is My Partner Did Something with Their Ex That They Have Not Done with Me. This is a very common scenario that people experience with regards to retroactive jealousy. So if you haven't seen this video already, make sure you go back and watch it. I'm going to be covering the main primary topics in that video shortly, but I recommend you go watch it anyway. I'm going to be responding to some of the comments that were left on the original video of people who are a little bit resistant and not fully on board with the points that we're making. So I'm going to be responding to those videos and expanding on the main primary points I'm trying to make. All right, so let's get into it. You can seek and look for whatever it is that you want in a partner. You are worthy of asking and looking for those things in whatever kind of relationship that you envision for yourself. But it's critical for you to understand what are the emotional motivations for you to want these things, for you to be looking for these things. Because the reason why we do anything in our entire lives is because we want an emotional payoff. So if you can understand what your emotions are actually trying to tell you, you get a greater level of clarity and insight into what's actually fueling your wants, your desires, and your behaviors. Another critical point is that love is not a competition. So if you are comparing yourself against the actions and the behaviors of your partner to their past partners, then you're playing a game that you cannot win. You're going to lose every time, because if you're focused on the comparison, if you're focused on what you're getting in relation to something else, you're giving all of your value away. And really what's most important that you have to understand is that you never feel your partner's love. The only thing you actually feel is the story that you are telling yourself in your head. Your partner could love you and you wouldn't believe it, and you feel this lack of belief. You don't feel your partner's love because you don't believe it. And the opposite is true. Your partner may not actually love you, but if you're convinced that they do love you, you believe it. You feel their love. This proves that you only feel the story in your head. The only thing that matters is your psychology and whatever story you're telling yourself. And finally, it's most important that you take full responsibility for everything in your life, especially when it comes to your dating and relationships. You will gain so much benefit by asking yourself, who do I need to become in order to attract the right partner that I want and create the most ideal relationship? When you give yourself this responsibility, you are in control of your own life more than you ever would be otherwise. So those are the primary points that I made in the first video. Let's start going over the comments that were left on that video. The first comment says, 15 past partners have been getting what they want and getting my girl to do whatever they want for free. But it stops with me who pays for everything. All right, thanks for leaving your comment, man. I understand how you're feeling here, but I think we need to evaluate what's actually fueling this mindset, because it's not a productive mindset at all. It appears to me that you're not in the relationship for the right reasons. Or I just think you're not actually clear on what it is that you actually want. And it sounds like you're a bit bitter that you're not getting what you want. Nobody is forcing you to be with this person. And I think this way that you're approaching it, with you complaining about you not getting what you want, is really unproductive. And it's putting you in this victim role, which is not where you want to be if you want to make any sort of meaningful change. So my question is, what are you going to do about this, man? You're not enjoying your relationship, at least to the level that you want. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to take some action? Are you going to improve yourself and see how that impacts the dynamics in your relationship and how your girlfriend relates to you? Or maybe you could just find somebody who's actually going to fulfill your relationship needs. Nobody is forcing you to be with this person. Another thing you have to keep in mind is that your partner might be fed up with some of the things that she's experienced in her own past, and she wants to change the speed that she's going at and who she is that she's dating. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe her priorities and her values are different than yours right now. Maybe she wanted to prioritize fun in the past, and now she's looking for something that she can settle down and relax into. But you don't have to take that personally. It only hurts you as much as it does because you're making her past mean something about who you are. That's not something that you have to do. It's happening because you haven't fully integrated all the parts of yourself where you can come at relationships and romance and sex from a place of abundance, from a place of, I'm choosing these things out of inspiration instead of I need to desperately get things from other people. If you are so secure in yourself that you're choosing to be with whoever you want to be with because you love them for who they are, you will not find yourself comparing to their past. It just will not happen. You won't be looking to get value or information out of a person and how they're behaving in relation to you. It's not going to mean anything about inflating or deflating your self-image. So honestly, bro, I think you need to take a hard look in the mirror and be honest. Is this really what I'm looking for in a partner? And how am I falling short in what I need to do to get what I'm looking for ultimately in relationships? You have the power to do that. So what do you need to do to make it happen? All right. And the second comment I'll be going over today is this video is just a huge coping mechanism. The point is she'll never do this with you. At the end of the day, you weren't worth trying it with. At the end of the day, why should I give her all that attention and love when she gave that to her exes? All right, where do I start with this one? I can tell just by reading this comment and by reading this person's words that they watch a lot of red pill content. And if you aren't familiar with what the red pill is basically this community of men online who are very bitter and angry about the situation of dating in the modern world. They put a lot of blame and anger on modern women and how modern women are awful and vile. And all of a person's problems, all of a man's problems is because of modern society and modern women. Now, I know this because I was as deep in the red pill as you can possibly get. The messaging of this red pill movement was so appealing to my unsolved pain, to my unsolved emotions, that it offered an explanation for why my life was so horrible and why I was so unsuccessful when it came to dating and relationships. So just know, man, I understand what it is that you're feeling. But having gone through this myself and being as deep in the red pill as you possibly can, I gotta say, please do not make the same mistakes as I did. The people who fall into the red pill trap are ultimately very anxious people, very needy people who feel like they've sacrificed a ton for their partners, for women in their life, and they're not getting what it is they're so desperately looking for. This makes them turn very bitter, and it turns anxious men into avoidant men, where they feel like they can't trust other women. They feel like they're all sluts and whores, and they're going to stab you in the back. They're going to be hypergamous and leave you for somebody else as soon as they see the opportunity to do so. And you can see, based on this person's comment that they left, that they feel like they can literally never win. And that's what the red pill does to you. It makes you believe that you're literally never good enough. It reinforces this shameful feeling inside of you so that nothing you can ever do will work. Nothing you ever do is good enough. And you'll never live up to their past or anything else that they're interested in. You're playing a game that you can never win. It's telling you that you must live in constant fear and misery because the way that life is set up, the way that dating is set up, is never going to work out for you. And you're welcome to believe that if you want to. But as it was for me when I was believing those things about myself and about the world, I was having suicidal thoughts every day. I was so depressed, and I thought that life couldn't get any worse than it was. But I made the choice that I was not going to keep watching this content. I got Andrew Tate out of my life. I got Fresh and Fit out of my life. I got all these toxic, horrible influencers out of my life, and I started choosing the way that I wanted to think and feel. I started choosing a better way to view the world. I started loving myself. And as a result, I feel remarkably better. So you can call that coping if you want, but I will take this coping feeling and psychology any day over the alternative, which is wallowing in shame and fear and guilt and believing that you can't create whatever it is that you actually want. You are not worthy of getting the love that you want. It's up to you, man. It's your choice. Red pill would have you believe that there are no quality women out there who will love you and treat you the way that you are looking to be treated. And that is just completely untrue. There are so many beautiful, amazing women out there who can create an amazing relationship with you. And if you're viewing women and your relationships from this lens of very pessimistic, shameful, guilty, fearful, then of course you're going to feel very negative and pessimistic in this way. You're going to hold these beliefs in that, of course, you were never good enough in the first place. Of course she would never do this for you because you're a piece of shit. But you don't have to believe that about yourself, bro. That's your own self-image talking. I plan on making a video talking more about the red pill in a lot more detail, so keep an eye on that in the future. All right, and the final comment I'll be responding to today is no. If they did a very intimate thing with someone else, yet they won't for you, is telling. Behavior is a language, and what is being said is this: I like that person enough that I would do this thing with them. However, I don't feel the same way about you, and so I won't do this thing with you. It is simple, really. And the emotions that this creates is more than just jealousy. One might feel rejected or like the other person second option and not their ideal. You can't pin all of this on the person feeling those emotions when the language of the other is saying that they are not as loved or desired. Thank you for your comment, man. I appreciate this a lot, that you're putting yourself out there, but I don't think that it's actually that simple. And here's why. I'm going to tell you a story about how I developed retroactive jealousy myself. So in my previous relationship, I was desperately trying to get more attention, more sexual experiences with my partner at the time. And in me seeking to look for those things, which was actually coming from a place of deep insecurity and neediness, I found out that my partner at the time had done some things that she had not done with me. And this shocked me, right? It shocked me in a way that I was not expecting. Now, the way that she actually communicated these things to me was in a braggadocious way. And this made it hurt way more because it made me feel like I was not good enough, that I had not gotten this stuff or experienced this stuff from her or with her. And so therefore, I'm not living up to the expectations that I'm putting on myself. It absolutely crushed me, right? It made me believe that I was not doing enough. I was not good enough, okay? And this bothered me for months on end. I developed the RJ, I developed the OCD, and I believed this whole time that this was about me, right? That she had made her past about me, and I internalized that. But eventually, I found out through me eventually approaching her and talking to her about what I was going through, that she never wanted to do these things that she told me about. In fact, she wished she had been able to say no. And this gave me a totally different perspective because here I was holding this whole story in my mind of, wow, she hasn't done these things with me, and that means that I'm not good enough. Whereas in actuality, she never wanted to do those things in the first place. She didn't know how to say no, and she had to live with that. She had her own self-esteem issues. She had her own self-worth issues. Okay? So what this proves is there's a lot more nuance that can be going on. Each individual person is like their own little universe. They have so much uniqueness to them. And you to generalize in this way is dangerous to you and your partner and the whole relationship. What I am taking from your comment and how you wrote out your experience is that your insecurities are manifesting as neediness. And that neediness is showing up as I need to compare myself and measure myself up to the things that she has done, that your partner has done in the past, as a way of measuring if I am good enough or not good enough. That is exactly what I was doing on autopilot. And you don't have to do that, because your partner's past and their current behaviors don't have to mean anything about who you are. They only will if you allow them to. And again, like my situation, what if your current partner doesn't want to do the specific thing because they didn't enjoy it or because of how it made them feel? Women deal with enough BS in sex and relationships that eventually it becomes too much. They've been burned too many times, and then they start protecting themselves. They start closing off their heart. There are real survival implications to this. And at the same time, bro, maybe your partner isn't wanting to do these things because she doesn't feel safe enough to do them with you. There's always an explanation for how somebody is acting and behaving. I think the real issue at hand, which you've already touched on here in your comment, is the person's character. Like in my situation, because my partner at the time was behaving in a braggadocious way, she was doing that out of insecurity, but it showed me a lot about her character. And ultimately that caused our relationship to not work out. I didn't want to be with a person who was acting in that way. The problem was not that she had done something with someone else that she hadn't done with me. It's how she made it about me in the first place. So absolutely, your point is correct in that you don't want to be with somebody who's going to do that to you. If they're going to act avoidantly and create that jealousy in you, and you're going to feel anxious and needy, then you don't want to put up with that. But I would encourage you to have a conversation with them and consider what else might be happening underneath the surface that is fueling their behaviors. And if you can find that the reasoning behind why they are doing or not doing something with you, and it's totally reasonable to you, then ultimately it's all up to you, bro. It's on you. And if you can't get over it, then it shows that you've got some major internal work that you need to partake in. Ask yourself, why is it that I need my partner to do this thing with me? Why does it matter so much? If you can't let this thing go, it's because there's a part of you deep down inside that is desperately trying to get your attention because they are not happy. There's some major resistance inside of you that's happening, and you got to work on letting that go and resolving it. You need to improve the relationship you have with yourself, bro, because your partner's past only means something if you allow it to. So there's a balance between you taking responsibility for your stuff and also choosing the partner that's going to allow that to take place in the healthiest way. So I'll wrap up this video by saying that if you are bothered by something that your partner has done and you notice that they haven't done it with you and you're obsessed with this stuff, you can't get it out of your head, it means that there's a part of you inside of yourself, deep inside, that you are unaware of, that is screaming, desperately trying to get your attention, telling you that they are unhappy with this information, with this scenario in your environment. And you need to give that part of you love and attention, because this part of you feels totally neglected. And this is the part of you that's being triggered by this information. So if you actually want to get over this and be free of this and enjoy your relationship for what it actually is, you need to let go of the finer details of the story and what it is that you're actually jealous of. And instead focus on the fact that this is you and you have some work that you need to do on the relationship that you have with yourself. You have some serious resistance happening inside of you that is causing this insecurity and making it difficult for you to be able to enjoy what's actually most important in your relationship. All right, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you got some value from it. If you need more help in overcoming retroactive jealousy and OCD, sign up for a free call in the description box below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.